Hey everyone, welcome to Judging for the Win. I'm Dave, and this is my daily ruling. Today's question comes to us straight out of the Judge Vault. Amy plays an Abrupt Decay against Nick's Rest in Peace. Into what zone is each card placed? Alright, so we'll first consider what happens to Rest in Peace. We'll observe that its bottom ability generates a replacement effect that exiles all cards that would be put into a graveyard. The way replacement effects like this function is that anytime a game object is going to move from one zone to another, the game looks to see if any replacement effects exist that would affect the move. Because this check is made before the zone change actually happens, we can see that the Rest in Peace's ability will affect itself anytime a Rest in Peace would move from the battlefield to the graveyard for any reason, including if you sacrifice it, if it somehow becomes a creature and gets lethally damaged, or if it's getting destroyed like in the original problem statement. Now let's turn our attention towards the Abrupt Decay. To determine where it goes, let's recall what happens when an instant or sorcery spell resolves. First, you follow all the instructions on the spell, then you put that card into its owner's graveyard. Because the part where you put Abrupt Decay into your graveyard happens after the instruction to destroy Rest in Peace has already been completed, that means the Rest in Peace is not in play at the time the game is performing the check to see if any replacement effects would affect Abrupt Decay's move from the stack to the graveyard. Accordingly, this zone change happens entirely normally. The Abrupt Decay is not exiled. Let's close out with some challenge questions to test your understanding. If you've heard any of these before, try not to think about the answer that you already know, and instead focus on identifying exactly when each card is changing zones and whether the appropriate effect will be in play at that time that happens. First up, we'll say Amy plays a D-Glamour against a Rest in Peace. Where does each card go? Well, we already noted that Rest in Peace's ability can affect itself, but it would have to be going to the graveyard for that to happen. Because the event that's happening in the game when D-Glamour shuffles Rest in Peace into Nick's library does not match the condition on Rest in Peace's replacement effect, nothing interesting happens. Rest in Peace gets shuffled in, and the D-Glamour goes to the graveyard, just like in the Abrupt Decay in the original problem statement. Alright, well, what if Amy plays a Lightning Bolt against Nick's Dryad Militant? Where does the bolt go? So in contrast to the question from the original problem statement, the Dryad Militant does not die during the resolution of Lightning Bolt. Rather, the bolt deals 3 damage. Lethally damaged creatures do not die until state-based actions are performed, which is after the lightning bolt finishes resolving and is removed from the stack. I talked about another consequence of this in my video about Tarmogoyf versus Cutdown, but for the situation that we're considering, that means at the time the game is determining where Lightning Bolt should go, the Dryad Militant is still in play, meaning the Lightning Bolt would be exiled. If Amy was using a Doomblade instead of Lightning Bolt to kill the Dryad, well, that would be equivalent to what we talked about in the Abrupt Decay plus Rest in Peace example, where the Dryad really does get removed during the Doomblade's resolution, and therefore would not be around to affect where Doomblade goes after that happens. And that's all I have for you today. How did you do? Join me again next time for another daily ruling. Until then, I hope you have a great day.